Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Municipal Planning Commission of Wednesday, December 18th. I'm calling the meeting to order at 12 p.m. Antonia, you have an announcement.
I would like to introduce Bridget Unland, who is our Planning, Development and Safety Codes Administrator. She's going to be hopefully taking over some of the responsibilities with the recording secretary role for the Municipal Planning Commission. So Bridget's been working for the town for about 5 months now, and she's been a really great addition to the team, especially with the safety codes and short-term rentals. So just introduce Bridget to everyone here. Thanks, Bridget.
Welcome, Bridget. Are there any additions to the agenda? No. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda? Art?
I move that the the other one. Okay, sorry. I move that the Municipal Planning Commission adopt the agenda for the December 18th, 2024 regular meeting as presented.
Seconder? Shelley? Comments? Questions? Okay. All in favor? Carried. Can I get a motion for the approval of the minutes of October 3rd, please? Tony?
I move that the Municipal Planning Commission adopt the minutes for the October 3rd, 2024 Municipal Planning Commission meeting as presented.
And seconder? Andrew? Comments? Questions? Oh, thanks again, Tony, for chairing the meeting for me. All in favor? Carried. Are you going to present the next one, Antonia, or just go through it? I'll just do 5.1.
I can go through it. So 5.1 is a summary of development permits issued through the end of September to current day. So this quarter we've been pretty busy in the Development and Safety Codes office. You'll see that there's a number of various different projects that have been applied for. Some of them started, some of them on hold. But if you did have any questions on specifics, I'm more than happy to answer those.
Let's do the motion first. Who would like to do that? Shelley?
I propose that the Municipal Planning Commission accept the summary of development permits for information only.
Seconder? Art? All right, any questions, comments? I just want to make note of all the rooftop solar systems that have been approved. This used to fall under the MPC, and with the new land use bylaw, now it's permitted use within the development office, correct?
That's correct. So the last round of land use bylaw amendments, which happened summer this year, removed rooftop solar from a discretionary use, which would have to have come forward to the Municipal Planning Commission to be a permitted use, providing that it does fall under the scope of the requirements of the land use bylaw. So far this year total, we've received 13 applications for rooftop solar projects. Typically we do see the building and electrical permits that do have to come along with those for weight loads, and then the electrical as well. So for each of those, we're getting a minimum of 3 permits coming through the office. Solar's kept us pretty busy this year, but it's great to see that uptake from the federal grant that's being promoted at the moment, and then the removal of that from the land use bylaw to assist with the ease of these applications to get those going for residents.
Great, thanks, Antonia. Anyone else have any questions? Oh, Art, go ahead.
On this list, I see that there's renovation to existing accessory building to raise height to accommodate a climbing wall. I was just wondering if that's a private or a business.
So that is for a private residence. That's property in Nagmine. So that application does request quite an extensive variance and will be coming to the Planning Commission in the new year. I believe I have specified to the adjacent property owners that we'll be bringing it forward to the first one in the new year, which I think is January 9th. Providing that we have a meeting that date. If not, then there may be some pushback on that date and put it the week following. So stay tuned on that one. You'll see that application before it gets a decision is made on the application.
Thanks. All right, all in favor of the summary? Carried. All right, so next one is a request for direction. So if you want to just do presentation, Antonia, and then we can do motion after that.
Okay, so as we discussed in the last meeting, we've been working off the Municipal Planning Commission, the Drumheller Development Authority bylaw 13-08, which is a number of years old. There have been some sections that the development office, myself, and then the manager of economic development have highlighted that are either not being followed as per the bylaw or are out of date within the MGA. So this is a proposed draft that eliminates some of the sections that are unfortunately have been difficult to either enforce through the bylaw on a having members as a volunteer basis, or that no longer comply with those sections of the Municipal Government Act. So I can go through some of the key points as they come through. So there is in the the current iteration of the Development Authority bylaw, specifies that the development officer shall be appointed by council. That section within the Municipal Government Act has been repealed, and within our municipality, the CAO does provide that appointment to the development officer to be in that role. So there's a section removing that. That's a large change that has changed per the Act. There are specific authorities, so whether that be the development officer or the Municipal Government Act, bring the requirements of who can authorize what in line with the land use bylaw. So right now the development officer can approve a maximum of 20% variance, and then anything over that, or still at the discretion of the development officer, to bring that forward to the Municipal Planning Commission for approval. So MPC can approve up to 50% variance to heights, area covered, setback requirements, and then a number of other things. So we just wanted to bring that in line with what the current land use bylaw says, rather than the old version of the land use bylaw. So we've introduced section 4, specifically outlining regulations for memberships. So this would bring it in line to no longer have sort of members not being present for X amount of time to be a reason to remove them from the board. This brings it into sort of the industry standard, but also as a volunteer board, we understand that there are you have other things going on. We unfortunately do change meetings sometimes, and attendance is sometimes unable to be met. So we don't want to penalize our volunteers for those absences. We also want to, so administration wants to sort of reward long-standing members. So there is right now a maximum term for members, but we also value the members that are volunteering. I don't want to have those maximum terms, which we end up bringing to council and having those approved for extended periods at the moment. So removing that would allow for long-standing members to remain on the commission if they would like. The administration has introduced a specification on who non-voting advisors are. So there was some confusion internally with what the development officer's role is and whether or not myself as the development officer was approving these permits as they came through, rather than as the board, as a municipal planning commission, approving these. So specifying who those non-voting advisors are, whether that be the development officer, the planner who is on the board from municipal planning from Palliser Regional Municipal Services, and then having the CAO as a non-voting advisor who was able to be present at the MPC meetings. We've also introduced an addition of the appointment and then the roles for the recording secretary. If we're going to be having a recording secretary within the Municipal Planning Commission, and removing that scope of work from my expectations, or the expectations of the development officer. As I currently write the minutes, it has been tricky to write minutes at the same time as presenting some of the sections that the development officer presents. So introducing the recording secretary there. We also have currently in the bylaw specifications on what present at a meeting would be. So modern standards are that present at a meeting can either be present physically in this room or online through the Zoom call, as we do have this both streamed through Teams or Zoom, or via phone. We've had members attend that way as well. And then there was also some confusion with what was considered a majority vote. So in other municipalities, majority is one more than 50%. Right now, if it was 50%, then there was no specific requirements specific outlines of whether that was an approval or a refusal. And we very infrequently get to that, but having that specification in the bylaw is industry standard, so we're looking to introduce that there. There are other changes. Those are the big ones.
Okay, first I'll get a motion and then we can have some discussion. Who would like to do that? Tony?
I'll move that the Municipal Planning Commission support the repeal of bylaw 32-08 and the recommendation of proposed development authority bylaw 01.25 to council.
And seconder? All right. So there is also an alternate motion too. So after discussion, if we decide, we can do the alternate as well. So I will open it up for discussion or more questions. Tony?
Just a couple for clarity here. You talked about having quorum at the meeting. So quorum will now be the members present versus the 7 officials that are appointed. Is that correct?
Yeah, so that's correct. So the quorum has always been 3, a minimum of 3 that's present, and whether that be present in the room or via the online video call. So the quorum section hasn't changed from what the current iteration of the bylaw is. I think the existing, so the current bylaw states 7 people maximum, but the quorum would be the minimum number to be able to have the meeting.
Okay, thank you. My other clarity was on the membership there. So the 4.1B, no less than 5 members at large appointed by council. So I know we've struggled to get 5. So in future, if we don't get 5, there's no commission.
Yeah, I guess I should get some clarity on that as well.
Yeah.
That number can absolutely be reduced.
Other than it says no less than,
No,
right?
yeah.
So I think maybe the wording there would be unfortunate. We only came with 4 and then we had to absolve the commission, right?
Noted.
And then the only other question was the appointment of the chair. You're going to seek clarity on that as to whether an elected official can be chair or
Yes,
not.
I will seek some clarity on that.
Good, thanks.
Anyone else? So again, we're just providing recommendations back to council. They're the ones that are gonna approve this, bylaw, so. Go ahead, Art.
Um, in some instances, the CAO is the development officer. In some municipalities, is this just going to be, the MGA you're talking about, the changes, is it just gonna affect our town? Is it gonna be wider, do you think?
So that change to the MGA was actually some time ago. We're just sort of catching up on some of the documents that have still reference council appointing. I think in some municipalities, council does still appoint the development officer as sorry, does still appoint either the CAO as the development officer or does appoint the development officer position for a municipality as well. Currently, our CAO has appointed the development officer, and that's just in line with what the land use bylaw states. Whether council appoints the CAO as the development officer again is out of my scope, unfortunately. Yeah.
Anyone else? Okay. So is that the end of the discussion for this one then? And are we good with the motion that's on the table? Okay. All in favor? Carried. So Antonio, this will come to council, do you know when?
I have it proposed coming to council January 20th.
Okay. And that will probably just be first and second reading, or
I-
first?
Ooh, I looked at my schedule earlier. I believe first and second.
Okay. Okay. So in the meantime, if there are any that can come back, before that date then.
Yeah, so I'll make those changes that
Okay.
Tony
Yeah.
recommended. I'll get that information from whether council can be a member of chair before it comes to
Okay.
forward to council.
All right. Well, that is the last meeting of 2024. So I hope everyone has a good Christmas and Happy New Year. And we'll see everyone hopefully that first kind of week back in January, if not sooner. Or later, sorry. Not sooner. Gosh, no. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Motion to adjourn the meeting. Who would like to do that?
I'll move to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn the meeting. Art,
I move to adjourn.
seconder. Shelley. All right, all in favor. Carried. Okay, thank you, everyone.